Well, hello.
Hello, hello, hello. How's it going?
Well, it's going well. It's like these days roll around. I guess that means guess that means we're having fun.
I guess that means that. Yeah. The good thing about today is where we are, we had a very warm, bright, sunny day. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's a good thing. That's a good
Good
thing.
thing. Yeah,
That
so how are
I
you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I had a very busy day. Literally up until the moment we just turned this camera on, I've been running. So
Oh, okay, okay.
busy day.
Yeah,
Busy
okay.
day, but busy but good. Busy but good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you
Okay.
too?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I tell you, I went to yoga this morning and
Oh wow.
it was good, but it's just it was hot. So
90 minutes?
yeah,
You
it
did
was just
90?
hot. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
You know,
anyway,
you
but
remember
got it
though.
done.
You remember, right? When it's
Mhm.
hotter outside, it's hotter in the room.
I'm telling you, and I realized today, well, it's been in December it will be 10 years and that stuff is still hard. It's rough. Anyway, but no
Yeah.
matter, made it through and just
It's been 10 years.
ran errands and did some other stuff and paperwork kind of stuff, just work. Yeah.
Okay, okay. I am so ready for the show today. I'm
Okay.
excited because of the
Okay.
format.
Okay.
There's some things I want to talk about, and I know you got some things to talk about too. But I'm going to get
Well,
started.
let's hope I do. Let's hope I do.
I want to get
Fingers
started
crossed.
first.
Yeah.
For me too, right? That
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
hits.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, um, I'm sure by now you've heard about the mass shooting in Tennessee at the school in
Yeah.
Tennessee, where there were three children killed and three adults. And of course, the shooter was also killed. Um, tragic. I think at the time of that shooting, there had already been recorded like 147 mass shootings in the United States. And what are we just starting? Well, we're about mid-April. It's ridiculous. It's
Mhm.
scary. So in Tennessee, there were these three lawmakers who protested alongside of children who were protesting to for the lawmakers to do something about gun violence, right? And those
Mhm.
three lawmakers from this Tennessee State House was Justin Jones, Justin
Mhm.
Pearson, and Gloria Johnson. So Justin um, tried to get their colleagues to talk and take action on this gun control issue. And because they wouldn't listen to them, they kind of did a peaceful protest in the House, if you will, right on in the chamber. And because of that, because of their action to try to get some attention brought onto gun violence in Tennessee, they were expelled. Their
Mhm.
Republican colleagues voted to expel them. However, the two Justins were black. Justin Jones and Justin Pearson, and Gloria Johnson, who they did not vote to expel, is white.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's what I want to talk about today. So these
Yeah.
gentlemen, these two young gentlemen, I'm so proud of them. they 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 literally they were expelled for something. So it wasn't even I mean, I know there's protocols and rules, but what I've learned in researching this story is that they have colleagues that have done far more egregious things and not even been reprimanded. And
Yeah.
then but they chose to expel them for this reason, and then not the third. I can't I can't even fathom how they think that that's okay, right? That
Well,
they
yeah. Yeah. And I mean, what struck me when what I've been hearing about this, backing it up a bit in Tennessee, they've done what a lot of different districts have done. They've, changed the voting, the districts, so that they've diluted the minority vote. And what ends up happening is you have these Republicans who then are in the majority all across this nation. And as a result, sometimes they are acting to silence, you know, the Democratic voices in the legislature. And so that seems to be what has happened because one of them, I can't remember whether it was Representative Jones or Pearson. And I tell you, this is unfortunate this even happened, but I feel like I'm better just for just knowing about them now, hearing them. So out of
yeah,
such a bad event comes, just something to be proud of. But
yeah,
anyway,
I
one
agree
of
with that.
them said, we tried to talk and they never
Yes,
want to listen.
right.
And so when you are an elected official and you've been elected by your constituents to do a job and to represent them, but you can't effectively legislate because number one, you're in the minority and you have the majority party, which, they don't listen, they don't support your legislation. So then you can't be effective. And it placed them in that position. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it did. It did. One of them made a point that in the state of Tennessee, it's easier to get a gun than it is to get health care. Now, that's very problematic, right? And
Yeah.
um I just I just don't want to see this type of behavior normalized because I think what is called when they load the districts like that is that gerrymandering.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So if they do, and you hear about that, we've heard about it even in our state.
Yeah,
So
it's
so
everywhere.
if they do that, then what will happen is this behavior or authoritarian type of behavior becomes normal. And that's
Yeah.
what we can't stand for, right?
Well,
So
yeah, but
so what I heard was that today or yesterday, the city of Nashville's governing council they reinstated Representative Justin Jones, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But on an interim basis, which
Yeah.
was what I don't understand. So if you could explain that to me, because he's back in on an interim basis, but he absolutely can run again. Why would
Yeah.
they? Yeah, I don't
Uh,
understand that.
well, I think it's probably, I mean, I don't know what happens in Tennessee, but I'm trying to, from my knowledge of how, how that works, probably when they expelled him, I mean, he's been expelled, so he's no
Yeah.
longer in the legislature. But they have the authority to reinstate him, I guess, based on their protocol, which is what they just did. And he'll have to run for his seat, which we hope and expect that he'll win. But what a waste of taxpayer money,
Yeah.
effort, staff time. That's ridiculous. And
That's what I'm
see,
talking about.
that's what's so unfortunate when something like this happens.
Mhm.
You have to jump through all of these hoops. And sometimes what people don't miss, the average citizen, that's our money. You know,
Yeah,
those are our funds at work that are being wasted
that's right.
because you go through all of this and hopefully Pearson will be, it's expected he'll be reinstated and they'll both be back there, but look what you had to go through. Not only the eyes of the nation have been on this, but there are legitimate concerns about, I'm sure this just didn't happen magically. I'm sure there was staff time devoted to this, probably attorneys' time researching what could be done, what couldn't be done legally, what's the process, what's the time. They've got to run another election. I mean, really, really, what a
Yeah,
waste.
all of that,
Yeah.
Lou, and not to mention the distraction.
Mhm.
They could be working on. They could have passed the bill by now for gun control,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
now, and just imagine what it's going to be like for them to
Well,
re-enter that house, to have to then work
yeah.
with these people who have
Yeah.
expelled them and put them through all of this. Like you
Yeah.
said, I feel like we're all better for having seen them speak on their own
Oh, I
behalf.
tell you.
I mean,
Yeah,
they're
they,
such amazing gentlemen. I'm so proud. I'm
yeah.
so I'm
Oh,
so
so am
proud of
I.
it, of them.
But, and I
And the
think,
thing
I
that
think the chance,
the ironic thing about the whole situation is that they're not only protesting to protect the children of Democrats, they're protesting to protect all children, right?
well, and I think that's what's so sad about all of this. I mean, it's sad when anyone is killed. But that just, when it's the children and all they're doing, they're trying to do what we told them they have to do, which is go to school, do well in school, get an education, all of that. And they're kids and
Yeah.
that's what they're doing. And they're not safe and they are expecting, as any child would, for adults to make adult decisions to keep them safe. But
To keep them safe.
instead of that, we are placing, we're being partisan of placing politics at the core of this very important issue. I
Ahead
think
of
the
their head.
chant, the kids were using the chants that they said during the protests, and I hope I'm remembering correctly, but they said something like, you will ban guns, you'll ban trans rights, but you no, you'll ban abortion, you'll ban trans rights, but you won't ban guns.
Yeah.
And that's what they were chanting, something similar to that. And everything becomes more important than this work. And what's unfortunate is when you go into the election booth or however you vote, you know, however, at the ballot box or by mail, but hopefully you're putting a lot of thought into it and trying to get the best person, regardless of the party, to do their job. And the reality is these elected officials are just not doing their job.
That's
They're not
right.
doing their job.
That's right.
Anytime you allow a whole nation to be held hostage by one organization because they contribute so much money to campaigns, you're not doing your job.
Mm-mm.
And if it
Mm-mm.
were people in any other profession, they would be evaluated and they would not get to continue doing those jobs. But
Mm-mm.
these are
I
hard
feel
issues that they
it
have to
very,
do.
very,
Yeah.
very hard issues. The thing about it is, so much, um, so many things that were um, considered, um, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but bad, for lack of a better word, um, are now normal, right? When it comes to politics, when it comes to how we treat one
Yeah.
another, how polarized, we are right
Yeah.
now. The
Yeah. Yeah.
we,
It's
because
yeah.
clearly, even Representative Johnson, Gloria Johnson, even she has been interviewed and said, without a doubt, it was race that saved her versus them. And then she even reported that it's not just this event. She said the things that she hears in that chamber, like they were voting on capital punishment, and one of her colleagues said, why don't we just hang bring back hanging from a tree? Like, he literally said that. And that's what she said in an interview that I happened to
And
see on YouTube. And
and
I'm
that's the
like, they have to
environment.
deal with that toxic
Yeah.
environment.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
have to work in on a daily basis. I can't even imagine, you know. And there was one other scene that one other report that I saw where Representative Jones was being asked, you know, was this guy was making a comment about his behavior, calling it a temper tantrum, and he just kind of let the guy speak and said, "How many of you
Yeah. I saw
think
that.
it's okay for him to speak to me that way? How many of you would like to be spoken to that way?" I mean, and I'm sure, what did they think of that? I wonder what he made of that comment. Like, he should have apologized immediately when that bad behavior had been pointed out, you know?
Well, and it's a toxic environment when it's bad enough when people say things behind closed doors to their peers or their friends or family that they know, okay, this is a safe environment for me to be this horrible person. But when
Hmm.
you are out in public and speaking in a legislature that like that, and to say that,
That's what I
then
mean.
that's really, I mean, that's extreme that you can do
That's
that
extreme.
because something is wrong that you feel that's a safe space for you to
Right.
say that. Yeah.
So Lou, what would you live there? Would you live in
Well, I
Tennessee?
wouldn't I wouldn't discount an area because of that, because
You
Teresa,
wouldn't.
it's no, because that's where we are now. I don't know
Yeah.
where you think it's safe to run to. You know,
Yeah.
even
I
in
guess you got a
liberal
point.
areas in California, they've had big issues to come up recently with race. I think they had to get um there were in some county there were a large quite a few of the members, the elected members, had to resign or were voted out for misbehavior. It's just the times that we are in that people are just they feel safe to
Yeah.
exhibit this type of behavior and to to engage in communications like we're seeing. And
Yeah.
I was telling somebody recently that maybe I was naive. I had no idea that our democracy was that fragile that one man, and that really started a lot of this behavior, can
That's
just
right. That's
unleash
right.
what's been unleashed in this country. I had no idea I thought we were stronger, better than that.
Better. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Lou, I attended a breakfast this morning, and it was a leadership breakfast. And there was a panel of women leaders on the stage. There was two, and I'm only stating race because that's what we're talking about. There were
Mhm.
two white women and one black woman on the panel, and the moderator was a white woman. So the question was something like, you know, what's the hardest part? What's been the hardest part of being a woman leader? Something like that, right? So the two Caucasian women spoke, and then the black woman was it was her turn. And you know what she said? She said,
What?
"In my career, I've it's not a matter of being a woman has had no bearing on it. It's the color of my skin. More than me being a woman, it's been my race that's been the problem and the thing that I had to overcome and deal with the most." I was like, oh my goodness.
Hmm. Hmm.
Wow. And that
Yeah.
just speaks to what you're saying. Like it's everywhere. You can't run. You can't
No.
run to some place
And
because
that's why I admire Representative Jones and Pearson, because, and myself included, a lot of us, we see the challenges and we talk about it, but they didn't just talk. They threw their hat in the ring and they went in.
they went
And,
in and they
and I'm not talking about just with the protests. I mean, they are engaged in the process, as toxic as it is. When
yeah.
when you enter that arena, you at least have some hope that you can be a voice, that you can make some change. And just look at this. They may not have passed legislation, but they are making changes. So
Oh
there are other ways to exert your power. And so I just applaud them. But in terms of thinking somewhere is better than, I don't know about that. Because like I said, in areas where I traditionally thought they've been liberal or believed in diversity or more rational, no, that's not what we're seeing lately.
mhm. Mhm.
So I think the only thing we can do, man to man, woman to woman, is to just try and be a part of the solution in whatever capacity we are, to be a, try to be a beacon of reason. But it is harder some days than others. Like you said, the lady on the panel referenced just walking around in your own skin is, some days you just feel targeted.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
You know, when and it pokes its head in the most unlikely places. I was all geared up for the women's basketball championship, and of course my Gamecocks, they lost, but I had my schedule. I had it synced to games I wanted to watch, and
Mhm.
so I heard about Caitlin Clark, that phenomenal player from Iowa, and I watched some games with her, and like everybody else, I was it was just, I was all in my feelings about how women's sports is coming of age, because
Mhm.
I used to try to watch it and they wouldn't even advertise when games would be on. I couldn't
Right.
find some, I knew something was coming on, but I
I
couldn't
have
find where it was.
I have a
I couldn't, I didn't know the players. I couldn't keep up with anything. And now, it was front and center. It was just a good, it was a good experience. I think that more viewers watched this championship than any other game in women's history. So, I was all in my feelings, all excited until, you know,
can
We
Yeah, can
had,
I tell
yeah.
you something before you go on? I want to just to that point that you've made. I have a another friend who she plans her life around sports and the games,
Hmm.
much like you do. She's an avid uh sports fan, and she
Hmm.
too was looking forward to these games, and so much. Her daughters are the same way, and the girls were playing in Houston, I believe, which is where
Hmm.
her daughter is. And at past games, they've gone to the
Hmm.
actual games. And so her daughter
Hmm.
tried to get tickets. And the tickets in the nosebleed section were $500. And
Yeah.
so they were making jokes about why did girls sports have to become so popular? Now we
Yeah.
can't go to the game. I mean,
Yeah.
so now I said I'm happy. I'm happy that's happening because now, like you said, you see the advertisements. Now you see
Yeah. And the
they're getting the
arenas
screen time.
they were
The
full. You know, I
the
mean,
games are
they were
full.
packed, and so
Yeah,
I was just all into it, just
yeah,
enjoying the
yeah,
whole
yeah,
experience and thinking about what is taken to get to this point.
yeah.
Because I mean, I saw athletes. I didn't see women. I did see women athletes, but I'm telling you, I saw some precision, some skill, and it was just great to watch. But then, of course, I can't just have a good time. The first lady had to, LSU won with Angel Reese, of course, their star player. And, it was a great game. And Caitlin Clark, of course, who is white, Angel Reese, African American. And then the first lady says, and it's never been done before, and normally the team that wins is invited to the White House. That's what happens. But she decides, okay, we're going to we may invite the losing team as well, which is Iowa. And, I was just thinking, wow. And it might have come from a place where of just wanting to do something good. I don't know, can't judge her on that, but it fell wrong, it hit wrong, because this LSU, primarily African Americans were on that team, and just feeling like they were sort of slapped in the face, just not being appreciated what they had accomplished. And had this not been a white player, that would not have happened. That invitation would not have been extended, because everybody was on the Caitlin Clark, fan wagon. And that's a good thing, but it just fell wrong. And so at the end, that just sort of ruined it for me. I was like, really? And so this is where we are. So, and
So I go ahead.
it's just seriously, that just bothered me, because yet again, something that should have been, just a good feeling, a happy ending, was all marred with this controversy at the end. And certainly race, entered the discussion. So to your point, like, where do you go? No, it's all over the place. We're just bleeding from all over the place. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I a couple of things. I thought about the race thing because, of course, I didn't watch the game, but I I
Mhm.
did I did hear the news. It was all over the place. It was on the radio. It was
Yeah.
everywhere. So was it because it could be two things. It could have been race, unconscious bias. It could have been unconscious bias, and it could have been the fact that they're women, but it came from a woman. Like if it were a male sports team, would they even have?
Yeah,
Would they
that might
even
have
have?
been.
Would that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So I was
Yeah.
like, I'm like,
And the
they
whole
wouldn't have
thing,
done that.
there was,
She
yeah.
wouldn't have made that mistake had it been.
Yeah.
I
Maybe
don't
that
know.
was
I don't
part
know.
of it. And
But
then,
I
they made,
certainly But I've heard a lot of people make excuses for her and say she just didn't know, and I'm like, she knew, she
oh,
knew.
I just,
She's been in
I,
the White House for how many years? Come on now,
Well, I
She
choose to believe she. I'm sure she knew protocol, but maybe she just wanted to say, you know what, they both played well. It didn't land well, but I'm just saying. I don't know,
No, I
but
mean, they were in the house. They were in the White House 4 years. They've seen this many
yeah,
times, and
yeah,
they know only the winning team comes.
yeah.
And,
And
if
then
Joe Biden had made that mistake, I would say he's just old. I'm sorry. She,
well,
you
and I'm gonna
know,
tell you, it was not only that, but then, during the game, Caitlin, did this gesture, basically saying they can't see me, I'm invisible or something. And then when Angel Reese did the same exact gesture, they were saying all kinds of negative things about her. She's classless,
what is it now? I
rude,
missed
and
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And it was basically, Caitlin was, taunting other players because she really was flat out balling. I mean, she really was. But then in the championship game, when Angel was getting, her team was winning, she did that same exact gesture that had been done by Clark in an earlier game. And nobody said anything about Clark doing it. But when Angel Reese did that same exact gesture, the same thing, I mean, the media went nuts over it. They said
There's that
horrible,
whole thing again.
horrible things about her. And then, of course,
The
I
media
watched.
said horrible things about the young black woman. I didn't
Yes,
see
and
that.
Teresa was the exact same gesture, the exact same thing. And
Wow.
so, yeah,
Wow. Now,
but
I
so
did read something where um Angel Reese is her name. Is that her name? She
mhm.
said she didn't want to go to the White House. That she was asking if the Obamas would open their house to them.
Yeah, I was watching that and I was like, okay, I'm proud of her, but I wish somebody would, talk to her a little
Culture.
bit. Yeah,
Yeah.
because, it is a White House and there is a way, you handle those situations. And I just didn't want any more negativity coming her way, you know. So I was concerned about that. But what I've been reading lately is that they accepted the invitation. I don't know if she's going, but I do understand that from what I'm hearing, as a result of her play, she's gotten a lot of sponsors and which have come her way, and we need more of that in women's sports. So, but like I said, a very good experience with watching that many people cheering on their women's team, and then to have that fall flat at the end, and there was just no escaping when you saw the reaction to Caitlin and the reaction to Reese. There was nothing else but like the Johnson said in Tennessee, I think it's the color of the skin.
Yeah.
And
So,
yeah.
yeah. So I just read this book, and the title of the book is something like Black Girls or Black Women Must Die Exhausted. And
What?
uh the gist of the story is about all of the stuff we have to carry, all of the like you were just saying about Angel, you wish someone had coached her. Like, we have to be oh so careful about what we say, how we
Right.
show up,
Right.
because
Right.
somebody, you, even what you said about the gesture, both made the gesture but only one was crucified for it, right?
Right. Right.
And
Right.
this book, I mean, it's a very easy, quick read. If anybody, I can't remember the author's name, but it's Black Women Must Die Exhausted. And I'll just tell you how it got the title. There's always like this little story. The lead in the story is a Black woman. Her grandmother was white. Her grandfather was Black, right? The grandmother's best friend was Black in a time when Black and white, when people, they lived in California, didn't socialize together and go to school together. The Black, her best Black friend had to leave California to go to the South to an HBCU when she was able to stay right at home and go to Stanford or some other college, right? The white grandmother. And they were best friends, and she just was talking about all of the stuff that her best friend had to go through. And one day she just casually said, "Man, Black women must die exhausted because we have to deal with so much." I mean, it's a really good story. And the story is really about the granddaughter and what she's going through, but the grandmother
Yeah.
plays a pivotal role in the
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
But yeah, we must, I mean, it's just so much because unfortunately, my next story is again about us Black women. I mean, how did that
Yeah.
happen?
Yeah.
How did
Yeah.
that happen? I don't know. We're talking about us today, people. So
Yeah.
don't be mad at us
And
because,
and if you are, we're fortunate enough that we don't care. So there you have it.
so I don't want anyone to be offended by my next story because I'm talking to myself as much as I am to everyone, right? So I want to start with some statistics. Black women, we've said this before. If you've listened to us at all, you've heard this before. We talk about how Black people, we've talked about how when America gets a cold, Black America gets the flu or pneumonia. It's really
Mm-hmm.
very different. But
Mm-hmm.
today, I just want to talk about Black women. We have higher rates of chronic diseases, maternal mortality. Black women are 3 to 4 times more likely to die from a pregnancy related complication.
Mm-hmm.
Obesity. 4 out of 5 Black women, 80%, are considered obese. We have higher rates of depression and anxiety, higher rates of cancer, and access to health care for us is just not equal.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying all that to say, you know, we what one some of the things that we can do are in our control. Like we know that with all those things listed, if if we were to eat right and exercise, it would kind of take away some of those things, eliminate some of those
Mm-hmm.
disparities, right? But it has come to my attention that we Black women would much rather spend money on clothes, hair. I heard today, just today, that these beautiful wigs that we're seeing women wear with the lace front where you can't tell that it's wig or not. Lou, those start at $500.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen
Did
them
you know that?
advertised. Yeah, I've seen them advertised. Yeah.
Oh, I had no idea. And
Yeah.
$500, that's like a starting price for a good human hair wig. Now they look good I mean, they look good. I'm not mad at y'all. The ones who spend that kind of money, I just couldn't do it. I just can't do it. But I also read a statistic prior to today that, we could spend on our appearance $1,000 a month. That's a lot of
A
money.
month, Teresa.
A month when you add the hair, $500 on hair? That's halfway there. Then you add the makeup
Well,
and the clothes. You add the makeup and the clothes, and and your hair, your nails, and your eyelashes. I'm not hating. I'm not hating. So people, please don't think I'm hating. But what
well,
I'm
you're just
saying, go ahead.
yeah, you're talking about, our priorities because
Yeah.
and I get that. But a lot of that stems from just our culture and what we've always been so severely judged by our appearance. It goes back to us not even being made to feel like we were beautiful or, so trying to, you're trying to overcome that. And there's
Yeah.
like overcompensation for this this misinformation that we've been
Right.
fed, or these prejudices that we've been fed all these years. Because, we were taught as little girls, well, you have to make sure you're dressed properly when you go places, because, like it or not, what the lady said this morning, she's had a far harder time just being black. The thing is, I'm going to be critiqued more severely, my appearance. And so that's what we have to overcome and get to the point where we understand, you know what, those are all lies. That's just that's been told to me, and that's a false narrative. But the reality is I have to concentrate on my health because I
Yeah.
need to be here. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Lou, you bring out some very, very, very good points. Um, but
That's what it,
another thing that another one of the ladies on the panel said, her toughest thing that she dealt with personally, her with her own personal self, is learning to like herself and not
yeah,
worry about so much what other people thought of her. So
right, right.
that is something. And I was actually, truth be told, being honest here, like before we started today, what did I tell you? I don't know if I can go on with this gray hair showing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know
And
and
see
so
that's the thing.
yeah, we are so
Well,
hard, we are so hard on
we are.
ourselves, right? And
Well, we are. I was telling somebody recently, I think last week, I was telling somebody, I said, I like to get my nails done, but they stay like this most days because I swim. And
yeah.
that just doesn't work with nail polish. And but I had to give that up because at the end of the day I need my health, particularly as I
Yeah.
age. And I'm not able to do the dye around the edges like I like to do because that chlorine eats it right up. But I kept debating it, and I thought, you know what, I need my cardio, and so I'm just gonna have to give that up. So, you know,
Yeah, so I would, the purpose of this is just to bring awareness to, I don't know if even some people think about that, right? And in comparison, like how much they spend on their appearance versus their health. But I would just beg people to please make a budget line for your health, because you either pay now or you pay later. If you don't take care of the house that is your body, then and it breaks down, where are you going to live? Right? So please
yeah,
focus some of that money on your health. I mean, a gym membership can be $9.99 now. They have gyms all over the place where you can join for $9, $10 a
and,
month.
and
And
if you don't want to pay that, remember there's YouTube, which you probably already have access to, and they got all kinds of workout videos there that you've
they
already
do.
included.
That's
But Teresa, let me tell you what struck me when you talk about health. I read something, I think it was this week, that broke down the numbers of people we lost in COVID, and our community was harder hit. And what struck me was, you know, the article talked about how many children lost their parents, how
Mhm.
many people lost siblings. So to me, when we talk about it takes a village and how critical our roles are in families, we have to be here now more than ever. We've lost so many people, and somebody has to be healthy enough to step into that gap to
Mhm.
try to meet that need. Because a
Mhm.
lot of children, a lot of people have lost people that they love. And those of us who are blessed enough to still be here, we can't be selfish. We already know we're at a disadvantage because of our health and because of the way we're treated in the healthcare system. So,
Yeah.
what can we do to
Yeah.
try to do better so that we can be here
Right.
to
Like
help the
mhm.
community?
Right. In terms of exercise, not even just exercise, there is so YouTube is, I mean, you have to really pick and choose what's good or bad for you, but I mean, you can find information on how to eat right. You can find information on how to exercise, meal prep. You can find information on how to meal prep. I'm telling you, some of my latest recipes came from women and gentlemen who have shared on YouTube. I
Yeah,
really, really, really like YouTube, and for
yeah,
that because I
yeah.
mean, I just bypass all the craziness, and sometimes I do click on that, but we'll talk about that later.
No, but the thing is, going back to your original point, that don't want to make anybody mad, but we do
Yeah,
have to look at the ridiculous amounts that we are spending on, you know, on beauty. People are
yeah,
getting rich off of us. I
I
mean,
know.
they are making, and we need to look at these companies that are getting rich off of us. If they aren't in any way showing that they appreciate diversity, that they are giving to our communities, that they understand the value we bring to this nation, we should not be supporting them. We need to be
Right.
looking beyond that, you know?
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
um, I know everybody's appearance is their, personal choices just as mine, but we need to be looking at that and not buying into this false narrative that we need all of this stuff so that we can be presentable. When at the end of the day, people are playing a game with us,
right.
and we have got to be smarter than that. So. That's Teresa. You and I just had this discussion because we interviewed financial advisor, and actually, folks, that episode will be airing soon. But Teresa and I
Right.
sat down and had a conversation where we talked with a financial advisor, and her business focuses primarily on women, and her goal is to try to help professional women navigate financial matters. And we talked about women being intimidated by even discussing finances and budgets, and that we've been taught since we were little girls to put others first, and that
Right.
we've even been sheltered in our different relationships from learning about how to manage money. But it's particularly important because single women now head almost 23% of households in the US.
Wow.
And even among married two earner households, it is increasingly common to see women as the higher wage earners. So we have to be very cognizant of that, and not shy away from those hard discussions about finances, looking at our money, see how we're spending it, and who we are supporting when we spend it if they aren't being kind to us. So, yeah.
Those are all very good points, Lou. And that segment really was that interview was very
Yeah.
enlightening for
Yeah.
me because
Yeah.
that's one of the areas that I struggle in, but I'm trying to do better.
So that, like I said, that will be coming up in a episode soon. But also, I wanted to give a plug for the blog because we talked about LSU and what happened with the White House invitation, and I actually did a blog called Sports Are a Metaphor for Life, where I talk about how we award losers in this country. So please be sure and check that out on our website
Yes.
on earringsoff.com. But Teresa, this time has really just flown by. But I wanted to share something with you because I'm hoping this will be us. This is some good news. Two 81-year-old best friends, they're both grandmothers. They travel the world together. They proposed, Sandy, one of the 81-year-olds, proposed a whirlwind trip to her friend. At the time, they were both 80. And so they said they were going to go around the world in 80 days. And they traveled the world together. And I thought, wow, that's pretty good to be that bold and adventurous at 80 years old. So they had a grand time just
Ooh,
traveling
I
the
saw that
world.
story.
You
I
saw
saw
that?
that
Yeah,
story. Yes,
yeah,
I did.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I mean, I told my mom about it. I'm like,
That's
you
good
can
stuff.
do anything, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I was so proud of them. They literally left their families for
And
80
had,
days. And
and
the
had a ball.
pictures that they shared on their trip were just amazing,
Yeah,
and
good
I
stuff.
thought, how good is that? That they have their health and they don't need
Be able to
to,
do
they
that.
didn't need,
Yeah,
they, to be able to do that together. They were
yeah,
so
yeah.
sassy. I really, really love that story.
Good stuff. But
Yeah.
Teresa, one other thing, I just wanted to give you a heads up. If I go missing and you are looking for me, I will be at a sports bar in Portland, Oregon, which is women owned and it partners with other business women. And it's a sports bar. All that's on all of the TVs, women's sports. And when the women's NCAA championship games were held, that's all of the women went there to watch them together. So
Lou, I know
that's
that's
gonna
on
be
your
on my
list.
bucket list. I need to go to Portland, Oregon, and it's called the Sports Bra. I
Oh,
like it.
I really like that, Lou.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah,
have
yeah.
to, we
So
need to put that on
we
our
need
list.
to
I'll go with
go.
you.
Yeah,
I will go with
yeah, we need
you.
to go. We need to go. Okay, I see a future show of earrings off from Portland, Oregon, where we're going to be going to the
I
sports bra.
really, really love that.
Yeah,
Lou,
yeah.
that could have been our business. Girl,
No, right? We keep trying to think of our thing, and
isn't
we're
that
working
the
with that. Yeah,
cutest
and
thing?
people love it. People love it. So
That
yeah,
is the
very
cutest, cutest thing. So,
good
yeah.
stuff. So,
All
so I tell
right.
you, but again, we just want us all to be cognizant of the times that we are in and to try to just be part of the solution and be civil to each other because
Oh
it
my.
is just, I mean, I'm not, people say, well, I stopped watching the news because it's too much, but I can't, I feel like I have to know what's going on. So I'm watching and it is just overwhelming. It's just a lot.
It is overwhelming, and I can tell you, we kind of don't turn our TV on. We
I
just
hear
turn it
you.
on for
It's just too
streaming.
much. It's too much. Yeah.
It's too much, and we just turn it on for streaming, and like all of the news I've been getting is just by Googling and looking at YouTube, because
Yeah.
they put clips from the news onto YouTube.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm.
so I get it when I want it or when I need it. And when I do go into the office every other week, I actually listen to the radio on my drive in when I drive in. And that's how I hear it. But yeah, I mean, scaled way back on my
I know.
on
Well,
news. And
for your sanity,
yeah,
you have
yeah,
to. So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
So
So,
Lou, we have a new mantra. This
yes,
is
we do.
something that we tend to do on our Saturday show, but we have a new one for today. And so mantras, this is Lou's jam. Mantras are her jam. And so if I mess up the description, please Lou, just jump in. But they're like a form of meditation, right? They have a relaxation kind of response. And they distract you from distressing emotions like fear and anxiety, and they can help to reduce stress or burnout. It's actually been said that mantras have transformational powers. And
Yeah.
certainly this particular mantra, I cannot take any. I
Mm.
Lou writes the best mantras, the best
Well,
prayers. You guys don't know
well,
what you
thank
miss
you.
out on. Um,
Well, but let me just say this, and mantras too. Remember, we spoke earlier about false narratives and what you are allowing people to say and you believe because they said it. What you say to yourself every day is more important than what anybody else says. And
yeah.
so mantras are to a counter to the negativity and the false lies that you may be told on a day-to-day basis about yourself.
Mhm.
And so they serve that purpose.
So the title of today's mantra is Cusp of a New Day. You ready, Lou?
I'm ready.
Here we sit, less than 4 hours away from a new day.
What joy did today bring?
Was there pain?
Was there disappointment?
As this present day ends,
We invite you to close your eyes and envision the promise of tomorrow.
may peaceful rest find you.
May your slumber allow your body to reset, to properly fuel you for the demands of tomorrow.
If you should dream, may the images you see and emotions you feel
Bring a smile to your face,
hope to your spirit.
and comfort to your heart.
When you awake, may you remember to let yesterday's cares remain in yesterday.
May you overflow with the possibilities and the promise of a new day.
Remember that wherever the day takes you,
The journey is only yours to make.
may the roads you choose tomorrow spur you to your desired destination.
Tonight, may you be saturated in peace and
Be well and
rest well. That's it for us this evening, folks.
thank you so much for joining us.
Our next show is the pop up on Saturday, April 29th at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, and our next regular monthly show will be Tuesday, May 9th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
All of our shows will simulcast live on YouTube. Visit us on YouTube at The Earrings Off Podcast to see past shows.
Be sure to hit the subscribe button so you will get the notification of when we post new things. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Take good care.
Bye bye.